Okay, our title today is probability. Probability. And we're going to define it right next to it. All right, so basically, probability is how likely, probability, a lot of I's in there, 2 I's, how likely an event, will happen. That's what probability is. How likely is something going to happen? Okay, and you can think of probability as being on a scale from 0 to 1. So we'll just make a little scale here. A line going from 0 to 1. Here's halfway in the middle. And if something is not going to happen, there's zero chance it's going to happen, we say that it's impossible. It's impossible. You zoom in on that. So that's impossible. There's no chance that it's going to happen. However, sometimes it may be certain it's going to happen. That means definitely it's going to happen. And when it's certain, it's like this 1 is the same as 100%. And impossible is 0%. That means halfway would be 50%. Remember, our definition was how likely? Well, if it's more than half, then we say it is likely. I'll use capital L. It's likely to happen. But if it's less than half, then it is unlikely to happen. Okay, so we have likely and unlikely. What about in the center? What if it's right on the middle? I mean, it could either, it's unlikely or it's not likely. You know, what is it? What do we call it? In many textbooks, they'll say, as likely as not. Okay, so the chances of it happening are as likely as not, as likely as happening, or as unlikely as happening. They use this as likely as not. Some students, we call it ALAN, A-L-A-N, as likely as not, instead of always saying that over and over again. Okay, so probability is on a spectrum. It's either certain, 100% certain, impossible, or somewhere in between. Okay, let's talk about how we find probability. And I have this fraction right here with words involved. So I just want to kind of concentrate on this, though. So if we want to know the probability of something, some event, and this event, what you could do is say that this is what you're looking for. Oops, doggone it. I made a mistake here. Hang on. So it's what you're looking for. Think of it that way. So probability of some event, something happening, that's what you're looking for. And then that is, the probability is actually a fraction. And the fraction is the number of events. You know, you have to count. Maybe I should put the word count. Count number of events over the total number of possibilities. the number of events, how many things you're looking for, divided by the total number of possibilities, the total number of items. A lot of I's in possibility. 4 I's. So the probability of something happening is looking to see how many of those things there are divided by the total number of possibilities. Okay, we'll do some examples of that now. Okay, I'm going to kind of separate this. We'll do 3 types of problems. So we're going to do an example with a coin, a number cube, and marbles. Okay, so 3 things, just so you know, so you're spacing things out a little bit. You don't need much room for a coin. Coin, number cube, and then marbles. Don't worry, I'll slow down when we get to that point. Right now, let's concentrate on a coin. Okay, so on a coin like this, you would have 2 possibilities. You have heads or you have tails. Heads or tails. That's the total number, right? So I'm just going to write that down. That's the total number. It's a total number of possibilities. There's 2. It's either heads or it's tails. So you may see it expressed like this. They'll put the letter P for probability, parentheses, and parentheses is what you're looking for. And let's just say that we are looking for heads, okay? Probability of landing on a heads. Landing on head. What is it? Okay, well, first of all, the total number of possibilities are 2, right? It's heads or tails. So that number is 2. But how many heads are there? Just 1. So it is 1 over 2, or 1/2. Now, if I was to figure out what percentage that is, by the way, that is as likely as not to happen. Okay, so rolling or flipping to get a heads is as likely as not. It's a 1/2, 1 to 2. Now, let's see what that is as far as percentage-wise. What is 1/2%? Now, in case you don't know how to do this, you know the answer. The answer is 50%. But you would just say 1 divided by 2. That's how you do that. 1 divided by 2, and you get 0.5, which is 50%. Let's try one more. What would be the probability of getting heads or a tails? Heads or tails. So you flip it, heads or tails, you win. Let's see, there's a total of 2, and we want both heads or there's 2 items, heads or tails. So it is 2 over 2. 2 divided by 2 is just 1, or that would be 100%. You're certain you would win. That's a good bet. I bet I can get heads or tails and flip it. Okay, so that is definitely 100%. That's certain you would win, or that would have come up. Next, let's go over number cube. Well, a number cube, that's just a mathematical term. Really, we're talking about die. Dice is plural, like mouse, mice. So this is actually a die or a number cube. I just find it weird to call it a die. But notice there are 6 sides to it. So when rolling this number cube or die, there are 6 possible outcomes that you would get. You could roll a 1, a 2, a 3, a 4, a 5, or a 6. Right? So the total number of outcomes is 6. I'll give you time to write that. So there's 6 total possibilities. Total. So what if we say, what is the probability of rolling a 4? Probability of rolling a 4. Well, let's see. The total number is 6. There's 6 possible. That goes on the bottom. And how many 4s are there? There's just one. There's just one 4. Now, what would that be as far as a percentage? 1 divided by 6. That's just 1 divided by 6. So it's basically like 0.16 or 0.17. I'm going to round it off to a whole number. So it is so it's 17%. 0.17 is the same as 17%. So is it likely that you would roll a 4? Is it likely? Let's see, if I go down here at 17%, 17% is clear over. It's very unlikely. It's not impossible, but it's unlikely that I would roll a 4. My chances are 1 out of 6. Okay, let's do 2 more to this. 2 more examples of probability on a number cube. So what about the probability of an odd number? An odd number. What's the probability of rolling an odd number? Like there, I rolled a 3. That's an odd number. Okay, let's take a look. There's a total of 6. That goes to the bottom. And then how many odd numbers are there? Well, 1 is, 3 is, and 5 is. So there's 1, 2, there's 3 of them. So it's 3 out of 6. And 3 out of 6, that's the same thing as, and many times on tests, they'll have you reduce it. That's the same thing as 1/2. And of course, we know that equals 50%. So you have a 50% chance of rolling an odd number. Okay, what's the probability of rolling a 3 or more? A 3 or more. 3 or more. Well, let's see. Here's 3, and then there's more. So 1, 2, 3, 4. There's 4 of them that are 3 or more. So that's 4 out of 6. Now you'll need to reduce this. Usually on most tests, they'll have you reduce that. So 4 divided by 6, 2 goes in there twice, 2 goes in there 3, 2/3. 2/3 would be the fraction. And if you were to find that as a percent, or just divide it, 2 divided by 3, so I'll do that. 2 divided by 3, and you can see it right there, 0.66, that's 66.6%. Let's just call it 67%. Okay, that would be around 67%. Okay, so now you should know how to find probability of any numbers on a number cube. Okay, now we come to doing marbles. Excuse me. And I thought, I don't know, I think maybe I'll just put it like in a bucket instead of a bag. Something like that. I don't know what that is, but a bowl, bucket. That's a very shallow one, a pail. And so we're going to have different colored marbles in there. So let's say I have 5 reds. Okay, you put R for red. And then we have green, G for green. And then let's say we have, so there's 4 green, and let's say there's 3 blue. And we're going to pull some out at random. And we're going to find out the probability of doing that. Okay, our first one is, what is the probability, and I need to separate this a little bit, of pulling out a green? What's the probability of pulling out a green? Okay, well, first of all, I need my total. What are the total possibilities? Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. The total number is 12. Okay, so that number is going to go on the bottom. The total number of 12. And then how many green are there? 1, 2, 3, 4. There are 4 green. So 4 out of 12. Now, on any test, they're not going to leave it 4 out of 12. You're going to have to reduce that. So if I reduce 4 over 12, 4 goes into both of those. 4 goes in here once. 4 goes in there 3. So the answer is 1/3, 1 out of 3. Okay, and if we were to figure out what percent 1 out of 3 is, now 5% is something you'll do all your life. So let's see, 1 divided by 3. Right, 1 divided by 3 equals, and it's 0.33. So what percentage is that? That's about 33%. I moved the decimal twice. So it's about 33%. Okay, let's do one last one. What's the probability of pulling out a blue or a red? Probability of a blue or red. Well, remember, my total is still 12, right? There's still 12 of them in there. How many blue or reds are there? So you combine them together, because it could be blue or red. That means there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8. There's 8 blue or red. That needs to be reduced. Okay, let's see. 4 goes into both of these. 4 goes in there twice. 4 goes in there 3 times. So it's 2/3. 2 out of 3. That's the same as 8 out of 12. So what is that percentage-wise? 2 divided by 3. So 2 divided by 3, and I get 0.666. So that's 66.6 or 67%. We could round it off there. So 67%, approximately. Notice when I combine those, they make 100%. Because I did green, then I did blue or red. Together, that would be 100%. Okay. Okay, so now you should have a better understanding of finding probability of something happening, an event.